Hey everyone, I'm Scott White with Bought with Scott. I'm here with...
I'm Trent Whittington with Whittington & Co.
And we have an exciting video to bring you here today. I'm sure many of you guys have been scrolling through your feeds on Facebook and see the advertisements that pop up for Offerpad or for Open-door, and they catch your eye. So Trent, tell us a little bit about what those advertisements are and who is Open-door and who is Offerpad.
Yeah, so we've all got them in our inboxes and our social media. So those two companies are publicly traded, what we're calling iBuyers or institutional buyers, that are basically just a big Wall Street version of a house flipper, that would, you would run into in everyday circumstances, but they're doing it in huge scale. Mm-hmm. And so they can operate maybe on a little bit thinner margin than, Joe Schmo, the house flipper. But at the end of the day, they're buying your house, they're flipping it, and then they're putting it back on the market for a profit.
So what's the convenience then to the consumer of having them be able to buy your house?
Yeah, good question. So, the convenience would just be, hey, I'm going to sell it to this one guy, this one company, entity, whatever you want to call it, and I don't have to show it. Mm-hmm. I don't have to, take my family from their home for 2-3 days, which is what we're seeing on average, I would say, or less maybe. So we don't have to uproot our family, and so we're just gonna fill out this form, get an offer in, the form of an email, and then we're gonna go under contract with this one person. And, so from a convenience standpoint, yeah, I guess it would be more convenient than conventional sales. Yeah.
So what's the benefit then of using a realtor and going the more traditional route rather than selling to a company like this?
Sure. So the benefit would just be that you're getting, wide attention, and, money goes where the attention is. So you're offering it to, anybody and everybody that's interested in that, price point, bed, bath count, etc., versus just one person. Also, you're selling it to, most of the time an owner-occupant that's not operating on margin. They don't have, a board. They don't have investors that they have to appease with profits and all of that. They're looking at it purely as a place to put their family. And so they're not looking at it as, well, I can pay these people X, there's margin, and then, I can sell it for Y for a profit. They're just looking, for a place to live. So anytime you have competition in the market, the market wins, and you win. So,
is there still a fee that these investors are offering?
Yeah. So there are fees. They don't call them commissions, but they charge at least a 5%. I know at some point, depending on if it's Open-door or Offerpad, they've been as high as like 7.5%. And then they run specials and incentives to try and get people to do things. But the lowest I've seen is 5%, which, is comparable to real estate commissions, the average commission nowadays. So maybe a little lower, but it's comparable at least. I actually sent our home to Offerpad just because I was seeing, these ads on Instagram and Facebook all the time, and I know this is going to be competition for agents. So I actually sent our home to see what kind of offer they would send, and I found that it was like 5% below market value. So you're paying a 5% fee and then some, and then you're actually selling your home for 5%, maybe below, below market value.
Sure.
Basically what you're doing is you're paying their fee so that they can take your money and flip your home with it for a profit, right? Which seems kind of silly. What they do is they're coming in, they're painting it grayish, whatever you want to call it.
Agreeable gray,
because it's agreeable and it goes with everything. They're putting maybe some new counters down, some neutral counters, some luxury vinyl plank, and then they put it back on the market in a few weeks. And so occasionally, just to be fair, occasionally we're seeing an outlier to where they'll buy something for a crazy number, right? Like a number that is above market value, occasionally. And the reason for that is because they're setting a comp
Mm-hmm.
for themselves because they already own 20 or 30 other properties
That's a good point.
that's a comparable sale for. So you may hear somebody say, oh my goodness, I sold my home to Offerpad or Open-door and I got all this money.
Sure.
They're an outlier, and we know that because if they did that for every property that they purchased, well then they would never make any money, right? But what they're actually doing is setting, a comp for themselves so that all these other properties are brought up that they've bought under market value.
Yeah.
So it's brilliant from a business model standpoint, but from a seller standpoint, it doesn't make any sense.
So what you're telling me, and kind of what I understand, is basically there's a cost to convenience for these companies to come and buy your house, even though they're advertising no fees. There really is fees, and they potentially, or you as a seller could potentially be leaving some money on the table. Is that right?
I believe so. Yeah. I mean, anytime you're selling it to one person, you're gonna do worse than you would have if you put it back on the market. Just like we hear a lot of times, oh, my neighbor wants to buy my home, and that's great. I suppose if you're weighing the the friendliness to your neighbor more than the net sales price, then that's the right decision for you and your family. But we would always tell our clients, I would recommend you put it on the market, and because you're just going to get terms and a net price that you would not get selling it to one particular person. Just like we see a lot even with our clients when we try and find them off market stuff. It seems like the urgency from the buyer is not there if it's not on the market.
Right.
It's like they don't want it as badly, and so they're not willing to do what they would do if it was on the market and everybody wanted it, right? So I think it's almost psychological, but with the iBuyers, they're flipping your home is what they're doing, and so they got to have margin.
Well, at the end of the day, too, they don't have your best interest at heart, right? They are in it for themselves to make the most amount of money for themselves and not for you as the seller. So that is what we provide as agents to you, is that we have your best interest at heart. But if you're interested in what that actually looks like, if you've gotten an offer from Offerpad or Open-door, one of these iBuyers, and would like to bounce it off of us, I highly recommend you guys reach out to either myself or Trent. We would love to kind of walk you through what that process looks like. And if it's a great deal for you, we'll be honest with you. Or if you're leaving money on the table, we would love the opportunity to be able to help out and list your home. So Trent, thanks so much for sharing your wide range of info that you have in that great brain of yours.
Anytime.
Thanks for joining us here today, guys. Please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions. We'll see you next time.